Jack it up. 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 Jack it up.
expenditures of federal awards. That's called the single audit for the year ended April 30th of 2026. For the single audit, there was two major programs, the Congressional Recommended Awards and the, I keep wanting to say HIDA, but it's HIDA Awards. In presenting this information, we'd like to clarify that management is responsible for the presentation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. These include the design, implementation, and maintenance of internal controls relevant to the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements, and to make sure they are free of material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. They're also responsible for following laws and regulations and ensuring the financial information is reliable and properly reported. Management is also responsible for implementing the systems designed to achieve compliance with applicable laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements. As part of our audit, we make selections of certain transactions. We apply statistical analysis to make sure that these transactions are presented, they follow the appropriate internal control procedures. Also, with regard to the schedule of expenditure for federal awards, that's the single audit. We also make sure that they're in compliance with all of the contract and grant agreements there. We conducted our audit in accordance with accounting standards generally accepted in the United States of America, and these standards apply to financial audits and governmental auditing. They also apply to, we also conform to the standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States of America in the Uniform Guidance. Again, that applies to the single audit. We plan to perform our audit to obtain reasonable assurance, not absolute, about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatements. Reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, and therefore it's not, but it's not absolute, as I mentioned. Therefore, it's not a guarantee that an audit conducted in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and auditing standards will always detect material misstatements when it exists. We also are required to issue a report on compliance over the, financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations. One thing that we clarify, some of the things we clarify, are the financial statements free of material misstatements? We've issued our report that, as an unmodified opinion, that means that the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. We also determine whether internal controls over financial reporting are adequately designed and operating effectively. We didn't identify any deficiencies in the internal control design or operation that we consider material weaknesses. We also want to clarify that the police department, Kansas City Police Department, Missouri, complied in all material respects with the financial related laws and regulations, and we did not detect any non-compliance with any of those issues. There are a few, a part of our communications, we issue some recommendations or things that we consider necessary in, or I should say best practice and improvements in internal control. The Enterprise Resource Planning System implementation is one of those things that we suggested that you make sure that they review and develop a system. And management did indicate that they're reviewing existing internal controls over financial reporting and to identify any changes that need to take place in implementing the new system. Cybersecurity is just an ongoing issue that applies to all organizations, and so we recommend that we recommend that you analyze any issues might come to your knowledge and implement any changes in the internal control system necessary. There are also some future accounting policies and procedures that might impact the department's financial statements and reporting processes. And so we give a list of that, and I think you all have the report. It's the report on internal controls and compliance. So you have a listing of those things. As I understand it, that is, are there any questions that have come up or that you have for myself or anything regarding the financial statements, single audit?
I'll just make a comment. Obviously, we did, at our audit meeting in June, we did a more in-depth review at that point in time with the partner that did the audit. First, I want to thank your firm for their work on the audit. But repeating some comments I made in the audit meeting, over the past year and a few months as a commissioner, I've learned the challenges of government accounting standards and how different it is from the private sector, and in particular, the awarding of grants, et cetera, and the complexity of that. And certainly, Deputy Chief McCollum, to you and your staff, it's unbelievably impressive that through all of that complexity, that once again, we received a clean audit and a clean management letter. So congratulations, Deputy Chief, to you and your team.
Yeah, I can specifically speak to that. That's one of my areas. I do the single audit and the compliance over that thing. And one of the things that I always make sure is I ask the people that are doing those things what their knowledge and understanding of those compliance things. It's always impressive to me that they do understand. They go training, especially when there was any new grants or things like that. So yeah, you have a very competent accounting department and officers in charge of it. So yeah, I can commend them as well. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Do we need a motion to accept the audit?
I do. I'd like to make a quick comment because I've seen this consistency year after year of the phenomenal work. Deputy Chief McCollum of the Financial Services team, and it's impressive, and the great work of Hood and Associates as our partner, as our CPA. So I just want to commend that because we all understand that audits are just, this gentleman gives a report and it takes 5 minutes, but yet the work that went into preparing for that audit is just something that has taken quite a bit of time. So I just want to commend you and your team's work. Commissioner, yes, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the audit.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you so much. Assistant City Manager, Public Safety, Lace Klein. It's good to see you, Ms. Klein.
Good morning, everyone. So first, I'd like to begin by thanking Chief Graves, the members of KCPD, and the members of KCPD for your continued partnership and your exceptional work throughout FIFA. The coordination between Kansas City Police Department, our city departments, and regional departments was instrumental in delivering a safe and successful event for our residents and visitors alike. I also want to recognize the department's collaboration in developing and implementing the municipal court FIFA docket. That coordinated approach helped ensure that municipal court violations were efficiently addressed while preserving public safety resources. While the numbers aren't finalized, as of late last week, we only had 15 visitors who were processed through the FIFA docket. We view that as a positive outcome, reflecting the overall success of the public safety planning for FIFA. Last month, I mentioned that as part of our FIFA public safety planning, in coordination with KCPD, the city secured 20 additional beds through one of our Johnson County partners. Those beds were used by Kansas City residents during FIFA, and so that reinforces that the city has an ongoing municipal detention need that extends far beyond major special events. Last but not least, I want to give an update on the modular jail. It's nearing substantial completion any day now. There are just a couple of more inspections that we need to do. This department is still actively recruiting. In order to actually bring our residents back to Kansas City, we need about 30 more corrections officers to open a housing unit. One housing unit will house 32 individuals. Until we're able to successfully bring all of our residents back to Kansas City, as I've been mentioning, we're going to phase into opening. And so that means that we will be maintaining our contracts with Johnson and Vernon counties, which are subject to renewal. And finally, again, we appreciate the hard work of the department in helping to keep us all safe during this event. With that, I'll take any questions.
Excellent report. Ms. Klein, when do you expect that phasing to start?
So we have about 10 correctional officers that have been hired thus far. As I mentioned, we need 30 more full-time employees. Operating the detention center is a full-time 24/7 operation. We've got to be able to provide medical care. So we have those contracts in place, but because the city hasn't operated a local jail in almost 2 decades, we are basically starting from scratch. So we have our transport staff that was already doing the work to transport inmates to back and from Johnson and Vernon counties, but we need that support staff to help run the day-to-day operations of the detention center. And so as we continue to get folks in and get them trained, we will start phasing in, but we hope to have that unit open by the end of fall. Recruiting is just a little challenging because we're competing with the entire region for the same pool of candidates.
Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Hi, Madam Chair. Thank you so much, and thank you, Ms. Klein. I appreciate your presentation. I'll make a few notes, none of which geared at you because these aren't really choices you made. Perhaps it's to the mayor and council, but there are areas where I have very real concern. First, on the detention facility itself. Hiring is something that I think we've been trying to do there for a little while now, at least probably since the beginning of the calendar year, knowing that this was coming. I think we're continuing to run in a very material hiring challenges, and so I would continue to encourage the city to try to make sure we can address them expeditiously as possible. As this board and department have had to hear from me in the past, I also certainly on behalf of the taxpayers have concerns that we continue to fund our contracts at the same rates we did previously. We have paid staff. I understand they're going through training, but that being said, at a certain point, you're paying 10 people to wait for 20 more, what have you. And I would love for the city to give us some greater clarity soon on how we look to get that facility moving. And then I would hope that as we look at other potential expenditures, both in a permanent detention facility, if that's to be a different site, and obviously the Community Resource Center, we actually calculate in these costs of operations issues and whatever appropriations we're doing long term. A second issue comes from the City Finance Department, and I'm aligned with their very real concern, and I just share this for the interest of the board. Currently, the Jackson County Executive and the legislature are considering certain property tax relief issues. As a taxpayer in the Jackson County portion of Kansas City, I very greatly appreciate that. That being said, as the mayor of Kansas City, I appreciate it less. The estimate for us is that this year that would have a $17 million negative effect on Kansas City's general fund, which if you count a quarter of that, that would be a negative effect of about $4.25 million on this department this budget year. And then if you look to future years, obviously that sort of treatment, which would come in the form of a credit actually, so I'm wrong to suggest it'd be this year, it'd be next year. And then looking at other senior tax relief issues will have a long-term impact. Not that the board needs to necessarily opine on these issues, and often it doesn't, but I do think it is relevant to the board's finances long-term as it's relevant to the cities. And we, more than anything, look for consistency and clarity on what our general revenues are expected to be long-term. Changing them in midstream does create challenges. The final point I'll raise, and I'll put this as a request to you, Ms. Klein, just for more information. I don't expect you to have it today. About 1.5 to 2 years ago, we passed relevant ordinances. There was a state law appropriation signed by then Governor Parson relating to the construction of a mental health facility just off of Independence Avenue in Paseo. Construction thus far has not moved on that facility, although the appropriations are there, roughly, I think about $300 million. It's supposed to be a number of beds. 25 of those will be mental health beds for the city of Kansas City, and that could assist this department. I would love to know where that is. Construction, as Mr. Whitaker would tell me, does not get cheaper and has not over recent years. And so we want to make sure that we can continue to fulfill all that we wish to do. The city of Kansas City to transfer land for free in connection with that project and invest within it. So I'd love to learn more in a future time.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll have an update next month.
Thank you, Ms. Klein. Excellent report. Jackson County Prosecutor, Melissa Johnson, welcome.
Good morning, Madam President, all of the commissioners, and Commissioner Six, it is a pleasure to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better. Chief Graves and the entire department, I think we can all, to a sigh of relief that we've made it through FIFA, at least the Kansas City portion of it. And like Assistant City Manager Klein, I want to thank the police department for all of your collaboration, all of your hard work for the World Cup festivities and the events, because by and large, things went off without a hitch. Hosting the World Cup has been a success because of your hard work, preparedness, prevention, and our ability to plan, including adding more attorneys on call in our office to make sure that we were prepared for any influx in crime. I did want to share some, frankly, surprising statistics from the period between June 9th and July 13th, which was the lion's share of our World Cup activity. Our office received 420 cases from law enforcement agencies in Jackson County, and that is a decrease because during the same window last year, we received 536. And so while it is certainly too early to give a scientifically informed analysis, it certainly seemed like crime was down during this period, even though we were bracing ourselves for an increase due to the influx of people in our metropolitan area. That is a pretty meaningful drop in referrals when, like I said, we all predicted an increase. And we do know that crime is down year over year, but even with fewer cases coming to our office during this period, we filed a slightly higher charging rate at 72% compared to 70% during the same window last year. The on-call expansion coverage that we built inside of our office for the tournament is a big reason, in my opinion, why we were able to charge at a higher share of the cases, even though fewer cases were submitted to us, which I do see as a success. Some key categories we saw improvement during the July 9th through the July 13th window are weapons offenses. We received 53 cases during that time period, which was down from 75, and we filed at a 94% charging rate, which is up from 88%. Property damage, we received 37 cases, which was down from 68 cases, nearly cut in half, with a filing rate of 81%, which was up from 71% last year. For assaults, we received 76 referrals, which was down from 103 last year, with a file rate of 64%, which was up from 59% last year. And homicides during this period, we did have 14 cases that we received, which was up from 9 last year. However, we filed on 83% of those cases, which is an increase from 73% last year. And lastly, burglary, we received 32 cases, which was up from 26 cases last year, however, with a filing rate of 80%, which was an increase from 73% last year. So across our most serious categories, we charged a larger share of what came through the door. For the full year thus far, we are at a uniform 70% filing rate and a 73% conviction rate at all. One more item that I would like to flag for this board is that we currently have 9 outstanding homicide cases from that list we discussed last month that we are still reviewing and workshopping. The ones that will not be declined will have a homicide committee scheduled by mid-August. So we should be turning around decisions on all of those cases by mid-August. And so we're working around the clock on that. Of course, I want to give a huge congratulations to Officer Cooley if he is still in the room. I think if you are anywhere in the public safety space or apparatus, Officer Cooley is a very familiar face, a very friendly face, a very productive face, and so we wish him the best in all of his future endeavors. And with that, I am available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for our prosecutor? Yes.
I'll just say thank you, Madam Prosecutor. I believe that your office has worked incredibly efficiently, expeditiously with some major issues with which we dealt, particularly around the time at the beginning of the World Cup. We appreciated both your responsiveness and your collaboration in connection with it. I just want to say broadly thank you on that. To the extent that anyone listens to me at the Jackson County Legislature as well, I know they're still making funding decisions on what to do with rather general ARPA funds. I will continue to try to push them to get as much to violence prevention resources and entities in that space, including your office, as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations to you, because word on the street is that you were the MVP of the World Cup, so.
That's Major Martinez.
For sure, for sure. If there are no other questions, I will see you all next month.
Thank you very much. Chief Graves.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of one of our own, retired Officer Dave Conchola. He retired just a month prior to him passing away on June 28th, 2026. David James Conchola, 58, of Kansas City, Missouri, passed away just shortly after retiring on June 28th. Throughout his life, he was known for his unwavering dedication to his family, his profession, and the community he faithfully served. He proudly served with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department for 28 years. During his distinguished law enforcement career, he also provided security for both the Kansas City Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs, a role he thoroughly enjoyed while serving the city he loved. After Dave's burial, his mother walked by KCPD Honor Guard and a couple of us that were standing there, and she looked at us and said, he loved being a police officer. Dave's legacy of service, integrity, kindness, and love for his family will continue to inspire everyone who knew him. He will be deeply missed and forever remembered. So I just wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Chief. We'll keep his family in our prayers.
Thank you. I'm going to read a message that I'm going to send out to KCPD, if you don't mind. And then I'm going to introduce Major Martinez, who is the MVP of KCPD for public safety here in Kansas City for the FIFA World Cup. And then just offer a brief commentary, and I'll explain that as I go along. But this is a message I plan to send out to all of our members. Thank you to all of KCPD's sworn and professional staff. I could not be prouder of you and all your work welcoming the FIFA World Cup 2026 to Kansas City. You provided a welcoming, professional, and safe environment for all. Through it all, I remain confident in your ability to execute such a long-term operation safely and successfully in our city. I know the caliber of men and women we have in our organization. There is nothing we can't accomplish as a team. You all have proven that to the world once again. I know this operation did not come without personal sacrifice from many of you, giving up days off and summertime vacations with your families. We all worked long hours, and at times, in some challenging weather conditions. You all showed up in a wonderful way that exceeded expectations with positive attitudes and smiles on your faces. You showed hundreds of thousands of people who may not have been previously aware what a great organization we are here at KCPD. Sworn officers, you are the first line of defense against anyone looking to harm our community. You locked in, stayed the course, and successfully participated in the largest full-scale worldwide public safety operation of our time. Professional staff, you were alongside our officers in vital roles, ensuring the operations were smooth, well-staffed, and that everyone had everything that they needed. We truly could not have done this without your work as well. I further want to acknowledge the great ambassadors all of our folks are for our city. Everyone appreciated your presence and engagement during the FIFA World Cup assignments and your regular on-duty shifts. In addition, you seamlessly collaborated with, were extremely helpful to, and worked side by side with outside law enforcement agencies that came in to assist us. Not only did you represent KCPD in Kansas City in a positive and professional light, but you were also a shining example of the strength of American law enforcement. I have received compliments and words of gratitude regarding the presence and safety you provided. I've received that from Governor Kehoe, Mr. Mayor. I've received that from the Board of Police Commissioners. FIFA has provided, we're very complimentary of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. KC 2026, members of the Police Foundation, city officials, business owners, member of law enforcement agencies who work with us, people from other countries, Kansas Cityans, and that's just to name a few. So on behalf of all those mentioned and fellow Americans, every visitor from other cities and countries, and myself, I thank you for your service. I thank you for your service and professionalism, truly. Not only am I proud to be your chief, but I'm also proud to serve alongside of each one of you every day. Thank you for being the true law enforcement professionals this world needs. So this morning, Major Martinez will provide a recap of World Cup efforts, followed by an opportunity for each deputy chief to provide commentary. But before, Major Martinez, if you want to come on up. Before Major Martinez begins, I want to personally acknowledge her and all her work in making the law enforcement public safety side of World Cup a success in Kansas City. You are 100% a big, if not a major part of that, should I say. Major Martinez has been leading the charge in the beginning and the planning for World Cup in Kansas City. Major Martinez began with an amazing energy and approach for all stakeholders to be successful. She's been a great communicator with KC 2026. FIFA, stakeholders in all segments of World Cup operations in Kansas City and nationally, as well as regional and participating outside public safety officials and their agencies. The magnitude of the operational efforts needed to pull this off, down to the smallest detail, can be attributed to Major Martinez and her team's efforts under the command of Deputy Chief Joe Maben. Major Martinez was on site, in person, to ensure organizational operations and any issues were immediately addressed. It was a wonderful privilege to watch Major Martinez bring us all together for the plans to take shape and be executed successfully. Major Martinez and KCPD's flexibility and ability to overcome challenges and last-minute requests was nothing short of true professionalism. Major Martinez, thank you for your amazing work. Thank you for leading KCPD through this historic moment in our city, and I speak for the entire KCPD executive staff. Thank you. We are so proud of you. I echo the same thank you to the executive staff for their leadership, presence, and engagement that we'll probably touch on here soon. So thank you, Major Martinez.
Bring up my vacation itinerary.
I know there's a cruise in order.
There is.
Major. While you're waiting for that to come up, I'll just take the privilege of acknowledging the feedback I've received with regard to Kansas City and how it performed and how it showed in comparison to all of the other host cities, and that we were pretty phenomenal. So thank you for that.
I would say the best.
I was trying to hold back, Major. I was trying to hold back, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, so it's just some numbers here. This is the easy part. I get to stand up here and brag about your department and the way that we responded the last 45 days. In addition to the things that we knew and the added Fan Fest days, what you don't know is the 135,954 hours that my office scheduled for events. They changed, they adjusted. It was daily that we were working with all of this. And those hours include 36,000 people at a Netherlands celebration that went off perfectly, internationally known now. The 8,000 plus miles of escorts that our traffic division coordinated and worked with around the region. Our 148 international countries that were represented at the stadium with those visiting dignitaries at the stadium as well as in our city. The 80 plus law enforcement agencies that came into town to help us and answer the call when we asked. When we asked everyone to be fluid in these operations, and they came through. What you didn't see is the late night phone calls of us changing hours for the very next day. We love England, but they change their hours every day. So the way that people responded to that was amazing. Of course, you would be put out by your schedule changing every day, and that is not what the response was. People were fluid. People were happy to be there. It was late nights. It was high heat indexes, and generally people stepped up to the plate and were pretty amazing. So when we saw those changes, it was fluid, just like that, just like we asked. And the partners that we had built, the partnerships that we built, and the planning that had happened before, we were able to move into place quickly. Everything from sunscreen and cheese puffs to large trucks at the last minute, and adjusted our plans on the fly. And that was due to our state partnerships that we built, our regional partnerships, the donations that businesses came through. So really, everyone was at the table, and it was pretty amazing to witness and be a part of. Our work hasn't stopped. Our personnel records has entered 10,500 slips of overtime. All of that is now with our fiscal department to make sure that we cross the line with this grant. So lots of work to be done, but pretty amazing. And the tension that was in my chest before has now been replaced with just such a sense of pride, really just a swell of what we were able to accomplish together, and pretty amazing. So like I said, easy today because I get to brag on your department. And it really was every professional staff, every officer and sergeant, and every command staff. So thank you. Thank you for letting me be a part of this.
It's been our honor, and you mentioned something important that I want to highlight, and that is that overtime is aligned to a grant.
Yes.
It's important that is acknowledged, but I just want to thank you again. And all of the people out there, all of the officers, I was impressed, the Highway Patrol, officers from other states, other cities. When I went out, it was just phenomenal. So, and your transparency and your communication and your convening, all of the feedback we've received, it's been phenomenal. So the city looks great. Thanks very much to the KCPD.
Thank you very much.
Chief Maben, do you have any comments?
Good morning. First, I want to thank Chief Graves, who allowed me to build an all-star team, design, and execute our safety and security planning. I also extend my gratitude to all of our officers and professional staff who really made this historic event possible. It was truly a regional effort. I know the matches and Fan Fest occurred in Kansas City, but the tournament included team hotels, training sites, transportation hubs, and watch parties in multiple jurisdictions across both sides of the state line. On behalf of the Patrol Bureau, I extend my deepest gratitude to all the personnel who supported this effort: planners, coordinators, analysts and decision makers, law enforcement, firefighters and EMS personnel, public health, public works, and public information officials, transportation experts, National Weather Service meteorologists, security professionals, venue volunteers, and everyone else who made this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate what a great team you did build, and I'm thankful for your leadership throughout, and always being that steady hand at the wheel at the Regional Command Center. Always making sure that everyone out at the different locations had the information they needed, things we needed to maybe adjust with incoming information, whether that be weather or potential threats. You did a fantastic job. Thank you. Well done. And then Deputy Chief Niemeyer, if you have any comments, while Deputy Chief Maben was holding it down at the Regional Command Center and commanding and acting as incident commander, Deputy Chief Niemeyer was out at Fan Fest. Him and I pretty much covered the city and the streets. And I just want to give you an opportunity if you had any comments.
Sure, thank you. And thank you to everyone on our department. It was really neat to go to Fan Fest every day and see people show up every day and work the way they did and the environments that they worked in. Thank you to Deputy Chief Maben. We talked nearly every day to the point of, I'll just start with a little funny. Called him one day and I said, "Hey, Joe, I'm on the way to Fan Fest." And he goes, "Stand by, they're delaying it." I go, "I'm turning around." So to catch a couple hours of extra sleep. So, but at Fan Fest, I I will tell you, after that experience, I was very surprised. I had a idea of what FanFest was going to be, and it turned out it was not that at all. It was actually exciting to go to FanFest each day. I watched the officers interact with all of the people. People were so appreciative that the police department and outside agencies were there. I can't tell you how many people asked to take their pictures with our officers, myself. It was a really humbling experience, and it was really exciting to have people appreciate our officers being there. So thanks to the chief, she was there each and every day to start off that roll call. And thanks to the rest of our executive staff for everything that they have done to help out. And there are what I like to say is we grew some leaders on this police department as well. It was nice to see other commanders step up and start to take those leadership roles and see how they reacted in different situations in order to make sure this organization moves forward in the future. So thank you. And I'll touch on some more FIFA stuff in my presentation later, but thank you.
Thank you, Doug. I couldn't agree more with the way that we witnessed some of our leaders step up into bigger roles and exceeding expectations by far. Deputy Chief Ortiz acted as a liaison specifically with Team Argentina and some of the other teams that came in. Do you have any comments?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. Good morning. That was an incredible assignment, and when I think back now, there was a lot of discretion and operational awareness that had to go with the Argentinian team, especially dealing with Messi and his security concerns. But that just proved that our department is up to that level and that we can handle anything, especially at an international level. So many compliments throughout the state from May 31st, when they came in, until yesterday that they left. The Argentinian security team kept complimenting our KCPD officers because of their professionalism, dedication, and just happy to be there. They were impressed by our performance. So it was an incredible experience, and some of the commanders that we're talking that stepped up, Captain Starkle, Captain Cody, Twego, and Carlisle did an excellent job just coordinating everything at the hotel. So thank you very much, Chief, and thank you for helping us.
And it can't go without being said, the role that the Highway Patrol played. The Missouri Highway Patrol sent up to or over 100 of their troopers each and every day. And a large part of their responsibilities was also Argentina's hotel. They did a fantastic job, and they were just, they've always been lockstep with us, but even more so, it's just reinforced that partnership that we have and that support we have from the state. So thank you. Deputy Chief Mills, he and Abby ran the stadium. Deputy Chief Mills obviously has some experience running the stadium operations at Arrowhead for many years, but I'm sure you have a little something to add. Those were some long days.
We have a lot of great people at KCPD. You know, Major Will Hewitt, Major Abby Martinez, and I had the opportunity to run the game day events at the stadium, and it was impressive. We had some expectations going into those matches, what they would be, and those expectations change daily. We would learn from the previous match, prepare for the next match, and then we would have to be adaptable to whatever the next change of that day was going to be. Abby had a plan of instilling the same command structure, the same individuals over each position during each match, and that was an exceptional idea. It proved to be very beneficial to Colonel Niemeyer's points about the folks that stepped up to be leaders. There was over 500 law enforcement officers policing each event. It's impossible for the three of us to manage those 500 individuals. But with the team that was built around us, we were able to implement flawlessly a number of different events that occurred out there. I'm very proud of the entire command structure that was in place there. I'm very proud of all the officers that worked out there. And I'm very proud of Abby and Will for the work that we did collectively to manage that event. By all intents, it went perfectly. We had 4 arrests over 6 matches. We had no major incidents. And at the end of the day, we provided a safe environment for those to enjoy the matches.
forget no field incursions.
That is correct. 0 people made it to the field.
Yes, thank you. If I could just take a note, obviously, having connection with the Regional Command Center where Deputy Chief Mabon was commanding as incident commander, should there be any information about a potential threat, that was communicated immediately to all of us executive staff and working to address whatever that threat may be or prevent some type of nefarious act. And I will say, one of those threats did, you hear all these things. But the way that Major Martinez, Major Hewitt, and Deputy Chief Mills, and even our Major Hernandez from Special Operations Division would come together and look at if there's any potential weaknesses in our plan, continuously tweaking it, putting people and resources in places to make sure that it was the safest experience for everyone. And I saw that real hand. I saw it every day. And I also saw how we tested our own perimeters. We were constantly making sure that we were providing the best experience for everyone, and that is due in part to the leadership here at this police department. And leadership is not a rank. And Deputy Chief McCullum?
Thank you, Chief. My responsibility was dignitary protection out at the stadium. We had the opportunity to interact with world leaders, national, state, and local leaders, as well as some celebrities. I had a team of 9 tenured and dedicated detectives and sergeants who were chosen specifically for their professionalism, but the ability to adapt. And there were a lot of adapting that had to go on because schedules change. The time that someone says they're going to be there or where they want to go isn't always the case. And they responded remarkably. The collaboration that we had with our partners and the dignitaries themselves was second to none. Even those that we worked with from different security details commented on the cooperation and the professionalism that KCPD had. So I'm very appreciative of that. I can't thank the team members enough. All the officers that I saw, even just at the stadium, in various roles, were very positive, upbeat. Again, what Deputy Chief Niemeyer said, a lot of fans wanted to take pictures and wanted to high five the police and thanked us for being there. And Deputy Chief Mills and I had a conversation shortly after FIFA started, and I think we learned a lot of things after each match, each interaction. And one thing specific, soccer fans are different fans. I've never been a soccer person. I've learned a lot. But we in policing, we see large crowds gather. We associate that with, gosh, we need to have a police presence. It could get out of hand. While that may be somewhat true, these are more fans that want to be engaged. We're not there to create a police state, but to create a safe environment. It's not, we got to shut down the streets, get them on the sidewalks, get back, you stay over there, you stay over there. They want to see their soccer players. They want to see their heroes, and we got to experience that, especially the night that we had the what they called the the legends. I guess when they came, lots of the older players from past and the fans that gathered around, and they were very pleasant. I mean, we didn't have to take that what could be perceived as a police state and keeping people back. But anyway, I just say all that to say that this was a very good experience. It was fun to be a part of, and I'm glad I was able to be here for it. Thank you.
I would echo the same. The fan base was very celebratory. You know, even with thousands for the Orange March, which a lot of Kansas Cityans participated in, but also at the games, or the matches, even coming into the stadium, very passionate, very celebratory, and very positive, and the interaction between law enforcement was seamless. We make sure that they were able to have a good time and celebrate their team in a safe way. So I just wanted to at least give all of the members of the executive staff an opportunity to just let you know like what their responsibilities were, but also the great experience that we had here too. In fact, I can't wait to watch the match today and tomorrow. And I will be watching the final World Cup. I may be a football fan now. So thank you. Thank you for all your support and your trust during this process. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. Great report. I really appreciate the way you had each of the team members talk about their role. To understand, you know, I got 3 words out of the entire presentation, and that is teamwork, partnership, and communication. And the way everyone, whatever position you were in the force, the way people who may not have been did you say by rank leaders, but they rose to the occasion and they developed themselves as leaders, that's phenomenal. So thank you so much for that.
Chair.
Yes.
If I may, and I promise I won't deliver an entire novel about all of these efforts, although Major Martinez knows we could. I want to issue some thank yous and just a few reflections just on the World Cup while we're at this section. First of all, I issue a thank you to the Chief of Police, and I appreciate your words about your team, but we recognize in leadership positions that whether something really good happens or bad happens, it's your face out there often that answers for all of it. Throughout this entire time, I think that you showed the level of leadership in law enforcement in the states of Missouri and Kansas with our national leaders and others that we needed to help pull this off. And so I commend you for all that you've built in connection with this. I also want to thank the many of you who have spent years working on this. I was just looking through some old ordinances, and I've had the fortune of being around for a lot of it, Mr. Kenner and I, and some others. We agreed in 2017 to apply for a World Cup bid. And at the time, the city's approach, I think we just told Chief Smith and the Board of Police Commissioners, we're just going to do this, stick with us and ride along. No appropriation, no real idea, no staffing. 5 years go on, we keep working on it. Major Martinez, I believe we bring you in, and others to say, we have to tell FIFA as we're going through the application process that we can do this. And so once again, we say, hey, show up, make it sound good. And then, surprise of surprises, in June of 2022, Acting Chief Mabin, others, Deputy Chief Niemeyer, we win it. And so then we just say once more, figure it all out. I think your accolades to Major Martinez are warranted because indeed, I believe from that moment on, if not before, Major Martinez was designated by this department to be someone who just figures it all out. And again, without appropriation, sometimes without perhaps even a lot of staffing. You did a very strong job of it, and I'm very grateful for it. I also want to note that I was proud of all of our officers on this department. You all are absolutely right to note, whether it was looking at Deputy Chief Niemeyer walking the beat every day in 90-degree weather, whether it was seeing brand new officers I've never met before in my life who were smiling, being friendly, giving directions. I think this department should be exceedingly proud of the effort that it all had. And people call us and ask for interviews and questions when something goes wrong, rarely when it all goes right. But I think all of us could be very proud that after that whistle blew on the final match, and some people stayed at 5 a.m. bars and all of that, we had no real incidents of note. That is something that I am exceedingly proud of. We got thousands of questions, it seems, for years. Will we be ready? Can we handle it? How could this city pull it off? And we did do it better than anyone else. I want to note just a few other people, and I'll promise I'll stop on this, Madam Chair. I will note the mayor's detail did a fantastic job, not just with me and others, and we made them go out every day. I warned them, but also with all of the visiting dignitaries we had. It was an honor of mine to see the mayor of Chicago come with this complement of folks and all of that, and they asked us, how are you all pulling this off? right? We have fewer officers than them. We don't have as many major events as some of these global cities, and I think we did better than almost all of them. And so I was very proud of their efforts. I also want to thank, and Deputy Chief McCollum, I'm putting you in this too, and the others who spend time in Jefferson City, and sometimes with our national leaders to make sure we have the resources we needed to take care of the folks who are working hard on this. So to me, this is just a sign of what we can do in the future. I'll be a little biased here, and I'll just say it this way. I'm glad we're keeping the Kansas City Royals here. If the Kansas City Chiefs in a new facility somewhere else ever look to pull off an event, the first call they should make is to the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department to see how they can pull things off, how they can coordinate and collaborate. We won't let them steal Major Martinez or any of these other folks. And don't let FIFA try to either, ma'am. But more than anything, what I would say is this was in many ways large-scale policing at its best. You all should be exceedingly proud of yourselves. This was not easy. This was not natural. This was not something that you can just pull off, and you did it while delivering core policing services to this city each and every day. For people who had nothing to do with the World Cup, they still had a world-class police department. And if you can't tell, I'm very, very proud. I need to write one of those letters. I'd like to put it in all of your jackets because I'm immensely proud of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. I am every day, but after what I've seen in recent weeks, you measure with the very best in this country. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
It's tough to follow the mayor's comments, but most of the World Cup I viewed as most of our citizens through the eyes of the local media, with the exception of mistakenly or unexpectedly walking into a celebration with the Argentinian fans on the plaza when I was trying to get a hamburger. But Deputy Chief Ortiz, to your point, I've never seen so many blue and white jerseys with Messi on the back in one place at one time. But my personal FIFA day was actually July 3rd, and the chief gave me the great privilege of coming to FanFest and speaking to the roll call. And Deputy Chief Niemeyer, the organization there was unbelievable, and talking about leaders stepping up, how Major Smith handled the roll call. And then when the chief gave us a tour afterwards, the presence at FanFest, you can see why it was such a success. And then that evening, I had the privilege of going as a guest to the July 3rd game, and it was interesting. In a sea of yellow and very raucous fans, you could tell that the presence of KCPD kept it calm, but allowed for everybody to have a lot of fun. So all I've got to say is, Major Martinez, enjoy that August vacation.
Any other comments? Chief, anything else? Thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you. Deputy Chief Niemeyer, Investigations.
Good morning. Items for the Investigations Bureau will be under tab A. Books. And I think I'll start before I start going through all the numbers, I want to speak with what the mayor said. We continue to work. Everyone continue to work, and you'll see that by these numbers before we get into them. Police work went on. FIFA was a major part of this police department and this city, but police work continued. And I think the citizens should be proud, and the department should be proud of what they did this past month on doing their everyday job as well. So the first slide is the blue sheet. In June this year, we had 21 homicides. Year to date, we have had 71 homicides compared to 89 at this time last year, which is a 21% decrease. 2026, we have cleared 38 homicides, 22 homicides from the previous year for a total of 60 cases cleared. That is an 85% clearance rate. And I make note that starting 30 minutes ago at 10 o'clock this morning, across the street at the Jackson County Courthouse, they're doing a homicide review committee where 3 additional cases are being reviewed this morning. So I would suspect that clearance rate will be going up by the end of the day. That is a phenomenal number. Breaking down June homicides by division, we had 4 at Central Patrol, 3 at Metro, 5 at East, 1 at North, 7 at South Patrol, and 1 at Shoal Creek. The non-fatal shooting comparison report, in June of 2026, we had 36 as compared to 71 in June of last year. That's a 49% decrease. From January 1 to July the 12th, we have had 183 non-fatal shootings compared to 217 at this time last year, for a 16% decrease in non-fatal shootings. Our Jones's First Responder Report, I try to continue since we are, I still believe we're very early on in this process, and we continue to learn each and every day. And I think this is one thing I haven't had the chance, because Deputy Chief Maben and I haven't really had a chance to see each other much in the last month and a half and communicate. We've been at 2 different locations. But I know when he gives his report, I think the Jones's First Responders program is actually helping with the Patrol Bureau report as well. I mean, I don't have any factual, but the numbers start to begin to say that. So we'll have more data. But total calls for service during the month of June was 608. First on scene, 339 times. We had a clearance rate of almost 9%, 8.72, which means an officer did not need to respond to those calls. We were first on scene 55% of the time. And that avoided 53 calls for service. For the Bureau updates, I have several this month. I also wrote something, but the chief already mentioned it. I'd like to give my condolences to the Conchola family. Dave worked for me for several years, and I just want to give condolences to his wife and daughters and grandchildren and the rest of his family. Something else I'd like to speak of, a couple years ago, whenever I was in charge of the Administration Bureau, we were talking about recruitment and other things. I had Officer Derek Bruns from the Northland Career Center present to the board. Officer Bruns was the founder and the leader at the Northland Career Center's law enforcement CSI class for nearly 20 years. His program grew, and the KCPD participated in assisting his classes, as well as the use of our academy to prepare his students for the Skills USA competition each and every year. We now have over 60, and I believe it's close to 70 employees that went through his program as high school students. Officer Bruns lost his battle with cancer this weekend, but I will tell you he had an everlasting impact on thousands of KC area students, as well as an impact here at KCPD with how many people we employ out of one person's vision to begin the law enforcement program at the Northland Career Center. My condolences go to his wife and his family, but I'm very thankful for his friendship and his dedication to this profession and his leadership to those students. Moving on to the helicopter unit, I'd like to thank our helicopter unit again for all their time and availability during the World Cup. There wasn't a time that you could not look up and know that they were patrolling the stadium or Fan Fest. They were also available for patrol the entire time. I want to thank those officers who worked all those hours, and I also want to thank the maintenance crews that kept them in the air. I want to specifically talk about 2 incidents. First, there was a missing child that came out over the radio at Fan Fest, and within seconds, our helicopter spotted the child in that crowd. The child was reunited with our family assistance officers and with their parents within minutes. The second, we had a traffic officer who was shot at 27th and Jackson. The helicopter was at Fan Fest and immediately responded within minutes and was there to assist with apprehending that suspect. And it's because we were in the air all the time. It seemed like all the time. Something else that happened during the last month was during the first match, officers were dispatched on 5 different shootings throughout the city. And I think it was well known and well described in the news media. The shootings were caused by one individual. This suspect was identified almost immediately through the help of Kansas City, Kansas Chief Carl Oakman and Deputy Chief Mabin, who was working at the RCC. And this goes back to how did FIFA play into our everyday roles. When these started happening, Deputy Chief Mabin was standing next to Carl Oakman there, and they had a conversation which helped us to identify him. That went out quickly. CPD officers quickly located the suspect at his residence in Independence. Ultimately, that suspect was found deceased in Independence. I bring this to your attention to highlight the work that was done not only by patrol, traffic officers, investigation detectives, all while we were covering a match at Arrowhead and FanFest was going on all at the same time. I will go off script a bit and say the last scene, two traffic officers were going to assist at one of the other shooting scenes, came upon this scene, stopped. We were out of resources. Those two traffic officers handled that homicide scene by themselves until additional people from the Investigations Bureau got there. Not their job, but they knew that we didn't have anyone else to send, and they're like, we got this. Also, unfortunately, last week we received a call about a 10-year-old missing boy. These events turned out terrible. But I do want to discuss part of that response to the search. We had an Operation 100 going on at a different part of our city, so we deployed the Sprinter van. That's what's the picture that's on the screen right now. This was purchased prior to FIFA in order to assist with our Drones as First Responders program and also be basically a miniature command post. Sprinter van doubled as a command post that day and was able to quickly be deployed to this location, was quickly able to deploy the drones while the Northland Patrol's command staff used it to coordinate the search. So I wanted to bring your attention to that piece of equipment that was purchased during and before FIFA that we use. And I think this is going to be an amazing tool and quickly able to respond to calls such as this to assist us. Lastly, I want to talk about the robbery unit. Also, we talk a lot about homicides, bullet to skins, but the robbery unit reported as of July 10th, we had 383 robberies compared to 510 last year. We're down 25% on robberies. They also identified a group of individuals that had a pattern going a couple weeks ago and were able to identify, arrest, charge that group quickly. And that's what has continued to bring these numbers down. I always talk about the Investigations Bureau. Our job is to solve these cases and to bring people to justice, and then what happens after that. But the more cases you solve, the less crime you have. And last, I want to thank everyone within my bureau for dealing with some really difficult cases these past several weeks, and each and every one of them that fulfilled their FIFA assignments. We did not mention Major Williams. The chief just asked. He was in charge of all of the drones, the drone mitigation, the Real-Time Intelligence Center, also known as the Real-Time Crime Center. He was in charge of that, and I'd be remiss, I forgot to mention part of our duties in the Investigations Bureau also was we brought it in, or not we, Sergeant King did this all herself, brought in the mounted patrols from all over the country. We had mounted patrols here from Ohio, Little Rock, Arkansas, Omaha, St. Charles. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but that was a pretty large undertaking, and we had that too. So I want to thank her for taking care of that. And with that, I believe that concludes my report, unless you have questions.
I want just to make a comment, because to tie into something you stated, and I would be remiss. There is a duality that's been happening this past month, and that is we've shined a light on World Cup, and of course, we've done phenomenally, and we look great on the world stage, but there was this work that happens every day. Every member of this police department, they were doing their traditional role, and maybe they had a FanFest assignment or a stadium assignment, and things were happening, and we were responding to calls for service, and it was all happening at the same time. And I think we would be remiss in not acknowledging that every member of this team, in any role they served, were supporting the overall success of keeping the Kansas City area safe, whether it had anything to do with World Cup or not. And I just wanted to thank you for bringing that out. And that 85% clearance rate. Phenomenal work.
May I follow up on something? We deployed some new technology with the drones and unmanned drones. Does that inform us, or will we be able to debrief on that, and how that may affect our drones as first responder plans going forward?
Yeah, we will. I'm going to use Deputy Chief Maven's line before he probably gets to use it. I think we need to decompress some from FIFA.
Fair enough.
And get, as he said yesterday, we probably need to get a week or two behind us and get everyone back together, and then we can absolutely report back out on that. There are so many, whether it's the drones as first responders, the mitigation of drones that we took down a a lot of drones. Our federal partners assisted in that. There's just so many FIFA stories in each one of our areas that we all worked in that I think we all probably will come back together in the next month or two, and after everybody gets a little moment in time.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief. Deputy Chief Maven, Patrol Bureau.
Good morning again. Today I'll begin with some notable events from community engagement. Then I'll move on to the median response times and the traffic division reports. Our Community Action Network officers participated in the Eastside Can Center community outreach event organized by Councilwoman Melissa Robinson, along with REACH personnel and other community partners. During the event, officers accompanied REACH on 2 community walks along the Prospect corridor between 31st and 35th Street, where they contacted individuals and provided information on resources for substance abuse and other community needs. Our school resource officers partnered with Arts Tech to facilitate this summer's Teens in Transition program. 32 youth from metro area high schools are participating. During the month of June, the teens engaged in educational programming covering various topics from culinary arts to conflict resolution skills. The youth also visited a local bank to participate in a financial literacy course and to open bank accounts. Finally, participants attended a guided tour of Kansas City highlighting notable historic events involving civil rights, politics, organized crime, and more. On June 5th, PAL hosted its semi-annual boxing event, Fight Night Champions of Tomorrow, featuring youth athletes and community partners from around the region. 6 of our own PAL boxers competed, and the event raised $4,500, which will be reinvested into PAL programs to support educational and athletic activities. Moving to response times, the median response time for Priority 1 calls was 8 minutes and 17 seconds. That's a 44-second decrease compared to May, and a 49-second decrease compared to June 2025. The median response time for Priority 2 calls was 10 minutes and 46 seconds, a 63-second decrease compared to May, and a 38-second decrease compared to June 2025. You may recall that last month there was a significant increase in response times compared to the previous month. In June, we were able to dramatically reduce response times in spite of the numerous World Cup-related events and activities during the reporting period. There were 5 fatal crashes during the reporting period. 2 of the crashes are solved, and case files will be presented upon completion of the investigations. The 3 remaining fatal crashes were exceptionally cleared with the death of the culpable party. In total, from January 1st to June 30th, there were 36 fatal crashes with 37 victims. In 2025, there were 39 fatal crashes with 41 victims during the same time period. Here are the department-wide traffic enforcement stats for the month. We issued a total of 5,262 traffic tickets during the rating period, about the same as in June 2025. From January 1 through the end of June, we issued 34,390 tickets, a 14.6% increase compared to the same period in 2025. And finally, I want to highlight a notable sideshow enforcement operation. On June 7th, from 7 p.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning, members of the Traffic Division, with assistance from other specialized units, conducted street racing and sideshow enforcement at several locations throughout the city. They ended up disrupting 4 sideshows and towing 21 vehicles. In total, they issued 42 citations to sideshow participants and spectators. They also arrested 6 people for various ordinance violations or warrants and recovered 5 firearms. This was arguably the most successful sideshow operation so far this year. That concludes my report, and with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Deputy Chief, you always give us an update when the response times go up and why. With everything going on in June, what would you attribute the lower response times to?
I attribute it without, having a time to go into a really deep dive, but we have so many public safety partners from around the region to come in and assist with World Cup activities. We were still able to maintain staffing levels and respond quickly, to emerging events. So really, I think it's just the influx of staffing. Now, I will caution you, next month, we have a lot of vacations coming up. So, but as always, that is one of our major focus areas.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Deputy Chief. Great report. Deputy Chief Ortiz, Administration.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Mr. Mayor, it's great seeing you again, sir. I thought those Colombians and Argentinians were going to steal you from us.
If I may, Madam Chair, and something you know better than most, the Argentinians are still saying, el alcalde es argentino.
Yes, yes. So that means that they thought that the mayor was Argentinian, so.
All right.
I will provide an update on workforce development, crime laboratory performance, and wellness initiatives. As of June 30th, the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department has 1,127 sworn law enforcement officers. We also had 69 police officer candidates in the academy. Combine our current workforce and academy pipeline total, 1,196 members. We have 556 professional staff members. And our hiring pipeline also remains active. For the 189th Academy class, which will begin on September 28th, we have 19 candidates pending job offers and 30 candidates actively progressing through background investigations. Within our communications unit, we currently have 38 candidates in a hiring process, and I'm pleased to announce or to report that 7 new call takers began their careers with KCPD yesterday. On June 18th, 30 applicants successfully passed the physical agility test and advanced to the next stage of the hiring process. Our next physical agility test will be held on July 25th at the Regional Police Academy, where 33 participants already registered to be part of it. While these numbers are encouraging, they represent much more than positions being filled. Each successful applicant represents another future officer, dispatcher, or professional staff member who has chosen a career dedicated to serving Kansas City. Recruiting remains competitive nationwide, but our team continues to attract talented individuals who believe in the mission of this department. That's a direct reflection of the professionalism of our recruiters, background investigators, academy staff, human resources personnel, and everyone involved in the hiring process. Next, crime laboratory performance. The Regional Crime Laboratory also continues to demonstrate exceptional performance. During the month of June, laboratory personnel processed 87 crime scenes, completed testing on 573 cases, and processed 3,515 items of evidence. Those numbers represent far more than laboratory activity. The work performed by our laboratory professionals is often the difference between unanswered questions and successful case outcomes. I want to thank Director Weiner and the entire laboratory staff for their continued commitment to quality, accuracy, and timely service. Lastly, our wellness unit also remained active throughout June. One of the encouraging trends we continue to see is that employees are increasingly willing to reach out before challenges become crises. That reflects the culture we have been working to build, one where seeking support is viewed as a sign of professionalism and strength. In closing, whether it's recruiting the next generation of officers, providing timely forensic analysis, or supporting the well-being of our employees, each area within the Administration Bureau plays an important role in helping this department. That concludes my presentation, and thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Questions, comments? Okay, thank you. Deputy Chief McCollum, Executive Services.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor. All items for the Executive Services Bureau are located under tab D of your board book. Mr. Mayor, I follow you closely on social media, and I've got to say, your scarf and jersey collection is very extensive, very impressive. Thank you. Before I begin, I do want to thank the men and women of the Executive Services Bureau. They ensured that calls for service were or calls for help were answered in a timely manner. They kept our stretched radio system from going down, kept our vehicles rolling on the streets, made sure each grant dollar was accurately accounted for and spent appropriately. They maintained the operations of our police facilities due to an influx of personnel, fulfilled increased record requests, and kept our IT network from crashing. So thank you, Executive Services Bureau team. Item A, budget transfers for fiscal year 2026-27. I request that the following appropriations be transferred within the Police Grants Fund. The Police Grants Fund transfer moves $5,000 from personal services and $6,000 from capital outlay for a total of $9,500 to contractual services and $1,500 to commodities for expenses related to overtime, travel, education, and minor equipment. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
We have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Item B, adjustment to special revenue accounts for fiscal year 2026-27. The department anticipates receiving reimbursement from Blue Cross Blue Shield to support health and wellness-related programs for KCPD members. Therefore, I request that $20,000 be appropriated from the unappropriated fund balance of the Special Services Fund to support these programs. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Move for approval?
Second.
Motion and second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item C, niche maintenance renewal. On September 15th, 2015, the board approved the purchase of a record management system from Niche Technology Incorporated. Niche is the department's primary records management system, report writing system, and corrections management system. The cost of the renewal is $329,520 for a period of June 1st, 2026 through May 31st, 2027. Unless you have any questions, I recommend approval.
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. Thank you.
Item D, 2026 Combat Jackson County Drug Tax Unit Agreement. The department recently received notification of the fiscal year 2026 Jackson County, Missouri Community-Backed Anti-Drug Tax Award. The Jackson County Anti-Drug Tax is funded through the Combat Commission and provides funding for sworn and non-sworn personnel assigned to the Special Investigations Division, the Kansas City Police Crime Lab, and the Community Engagement Division. This award also covers some operating expenses within the aforementioned elements. The award is in the amount of $3,657,651 beginning January 1st, 2026 and ending December 31st, 2026. This is the 31st year for this award, and unless you have any questions, I request your acceptance.
Motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item E, Midwest HIDA Investigative Support Center modification. In July 2025, the department accepted the 100% federally funded fiscal year 2025 Midwest HIDA, which stands for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area, Investigative Support Center Award of $511,312.44. The department recently received an award modification that will increase funding by $6,454.48. This increases the total award amount to $517,766.92. There is no change to the original award period of January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2026. Unless you have any questions, I recommend accepting this award.
Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
And the remainder of my portion will be enclosed.
I do have one
Commissioner?
question,
Yes.
if you don't mind,
yes.
Deputy Chief. I know you always provide us the kind of the budget trend line. I know 1 month doesn't make a trend, but it looks like we're trending positive on personal expenses and negative on a handful of others. Any early indicators from a budget perspective? And then second part to that question, what will we expect to see, knowing that we'll see a huge influx of overtime, but that'll be covered by grant money?
Correct. So the first question is simple. Yes, the personnel is doing fine. Some of the other things that have increased, but increased slightly, is not abnormal. That's due to a large ammunition purchase. So when that becomes at the beginning of the fiscal year, it throws everything up. But we expect that to come back in line as previous years have suggested. As far as the grant overtime, yes, we are, anything FIFA-related is being paid for, being submitted for payment by the grant. We are currently working on a grant modification to allow for our professional staff, because they were excluded in the language of the grant, but we think that we can get that covered as well. So we're hopeful that that will stay in line. And of course, with the city assisting us with an increase to our overtime budget in anticipation of unexpected expenses is going to help as well. Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else? Any other questions for Deputy Chief McCollum? Deputy Chief Mills, do you have a report today?
No, ma'am. We were able to work ahead a little bit last month, and I have nothing for you this month.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Weinert, Office of General Counsel.
Good morning, Commissioners. As it pertains to FIFA and the Office of General Counsel, we're a relatively small team, but we do have a window into the outstanding work that's being done across all areas of the department, and it's been humbling to be part of that as this has gone on. One thing that I would like to note is that we're talking about FIFA kind of like it's in the past, but a lot of the work still goes on. We still have contracts to close out. We have checks to cut. We have records requests to fulfill. Undoubtedly, we're going to have some legal issues to work through. And so while I think the congratulations are justly earned, there will be great work being done by this department in the weeks and months and years to come. So it's been great to be part of that. Turning to the Private Officer Licensing Unit report, first a couple statistics to note. In April 2025 through the first week of July 2025, the Private Officer Licensing Unit processed 2,192 licenses. During that same period this year, the Private Officer Licensing Unit processed 3,037 licenses, a difference of 843 licenses, or an almost 40% increase. They did this on short turnaround, working long hours, and while maintaining the high standards and expectations of professionalism that we have for private officers working in Kansas City, Missouri. And I'm deeply grateful for everything that unit and their team members did as part of this process. Turning to the action items for you, they're under tab E in your board book. The first, Puva Kinsisana has appealed the Private Officer Licensing Unit's denial of his application for an armed private security license. Kinsisana left his employment with the University of Kansas Medical Center Police Department under the threat of termination. The Code of State Regulations, 17 CSR 10-2.05030, provides that resigning under threat of termination from a law enforcement agency shall make an individual ineligible for a license. For this reason, the Private Officer Licensing Unit recommends upholding the denial of Kinsisana's application for an armed private security license.
Thank you. We'll take a motion and then we'll do discussion. Motion to approve.
To approve the recommendation.
Second.
Discussion.
So, quick question. So if, in reading this, it sounds like that, that this gentleman checked that he was a sworn officer, but the violation happened in a civilian role. Does that have an impact on how the statute's written?
The regulation states that it's the leaving another law enforcement agency under a threat of termination or after being terminated makes you ineligible for licensure. It doesn't have a distinction between the role that you have at that agency. I do note that on the form that the applicant filled out, he did check that he was employed in a law enforcement capacity.
And I just the reason why I was referencing, because in his appeal letter, it says that the violation happened as a civilian. It looked to me, but.
Yeah, that's correct.
Further questions?
That's correct as it pertains to the appeal letter.
Right, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.
The second item for your consideration is Denise R. Arello's application for an unarmed private security license. Arello left employment with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department with pending discipline. The Code of State Regulations provides that resigning under threat of termination from a law enforcement agency shall make an individual ineligible for a license. Accordingly, the Private Officer Licensing Unit recommends upholding the denial of Arello's application for an armed private security license.
Do we have a motion to approve the uphold?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you, Commissioners. The remainder of my report will be in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Weiner. And thank you for reminding us that work remains. It's called closeout, right? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Director Bennikin, Office of Community Complaints.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chief Graves, command staff, and everyone assembled. I am pleased to present the Office of Community Complaints semi-annual statistical reports for the first 6 months of 2026. This report provides an overview of complaint activity, investigative concerns, and operational performance. The data reflects the continued commitment of the OCC to provide fair, impartial, and transparent civilian oversight of police conduct with the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. During the first half of 2026, the OCC received 195 complaints, representing a slight decrease from the 200 complaints received during the same time period in 2025. The office referred 68 complaints to the Internal Affairs Unit for formal investigation, while 127 complaints were resolved through OCC's non-investigative complaint process. This distribution demonstrates the office's continued use of both investigative and administrative resolution methods to ensure complaints are addressed appropriately according to policy and also jurisdiction. Improper procedure complaints continue to represent the largest category, accounting for 113 allegations, followed by improper member conduct with 35 complaints. Together, these two categories comprise approximately 3/4 of all complaints received during the reporting period. Several complaint categories experienced some meaningful changes compared with the first half of 2025. The non-KCPD complaints declined from 26 to 14. Harassment complaints decreased significantly from 19 to 6. Excessive force complaints remained relatively consistent with 14 compared to 17 in 2025. Bias-based policing complaints increased modestly from 2 to 3. Discourtesy complaints increased slightly from 9 to 10. Improper member conduct complaints increased from 27 to 35. And improper procedure complaints increased from 100 to 113, continuing its upward trend observed over recent reporting years. These trends suggest that while allegations involving officer demeanor remain relatively stable, allegations regarding procedural issues and professional conduct continue to represent the primary source of citizen concerns. Of the 195 complaints received, 68 complaints were forwarded to the Internal Affairs Unit for formal investigation, as previously stated. Among those complaints referred for investigation, improper procedure accounted for the largest number, which was 32. Improper member conduct followed with 19. Excessive use of force was 7. Discourtesy resulted in 5 investigations. Bias-based policing generated 3 investigations, and harassment resulted in 2 investigations. This distribution demonstrates that allegations involving procedural violations and conduct continue to warrant the greatest degree of formal investigative review. As far as outcomes, the dispositions are as follows. 17 of those cases were closed. 15 were exonerated. There were 14 allegations that were not sustained. 3 investigations resulted in sustained findings, while 1 of the complaints was withdrawn. As far as our non-investigative complaint activity, of the 127 complaints handled administratively, 81 involved improper procedure, 16 involved improper member conduct, 14 were non-KCPD matters, 7 involved excessive use of force, 5 discourtesy, and 4 involved harassment. Those dispositions of the non-investigative complaints are as follows. 61 of those were closed. 37 were resolved without investigation. 17 were closed due to non-cooperation, and 2 were withdrawn. These figures indicate that the OCC and the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department continue to efficiently resolve a substantial number of complaints through administrative review while reserving formal investigations for matters involving allegations requiring additional fact-finding. As far as observations, several significant observations emerged from the first half of 2026. Overall complaint volume has remained remarkably consistent over the past several years, suggesting that there's stable public utilization of the complaint process. Also, improper procedure continues to dominate complaint activity, and that is a good thing in our eyes because it affords the department the opportunity to review policy, best practices, potential training enhancements, and also shows that there is a continued need for public education regarding police policy and procedure. Harassment allegations declined substantially compared with the previous reporting period, and the OCC continues to balance investigative oversight with efficient administration of resolution of citizen concerns through alternative means. So for the first half of 2026, there's a reflection of continued stability in overall complaint volume. We will, however, highlight evolving patterns in the types of concerns raised by members of the community. The predominance of allegations involving procedural issues and member conduct underscores the ongoing importance of continued training, supervisory oversight, and organizational accountability. This information, however, is communicated to the department on a regular basis, so there are no recommendations for additional action at this time. This concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Director Benekid. Thank you and your team for the phenomenal work.
Also, and I think I communicated this to command staff, to my knowledge, unless something else came in, we only received 1 complaint associated with officers involved, or member involvement with the World Cup. So I would like to add to my congratulations and commending the service that has been provided by members of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Members of my staff were excited to be a part of it. Many of them served alongside many of the officers, and they have a lot of stories to tell about the heat and other things. And I was more than happy to remain in my air-conditioned accommodations to make sure that the complaint office was properly staffed during that time. So again, to Major Martinez, congratulations, and to the entire KCPD and everyone concerned, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Public comments, Mr. Kenner?
Yes, Ron Hunt is first. And his junior Hunt.
Wow. That is new.
Are you getting this photo?
To the mayor, President Romas,
Yes.
to the board, to the chief and her crew. I just had to really come here. I know this is strange. It's not of me to do this, but he's been hanging out with me for the past 3 months. So, but I just really came here to really thank the police department for your exceptional, great work that you did during the World Cup. I mean, really, all of you. I don't stay that far from the stadium, but I saw a lot. Maybe good job. Everybody's chief did a great job. So I had to just bring my little one to tell you, because when I watch you on television, I can't give my comments, but I really appreciate it. I've been going through some challenges for the last 2 months, but I thank the department for their support, for calling and checking on me. As you see, I got my little one there, and I got my 11-year-old daughter with me, but I'm really proud of the way you handled the World Cup. I really am. And so congratulations to all of you. You need to thank yourself. And who said that leadership has no rank? Who said that?
The chief.
Yeah, chief, that's a nice quote, phrase, but I appreciate it. And, I know the whole community really appreciate it. So that's all I got to say. I have no complaints. I haven't heard any complaints, but I just like the way you handled the World Cup. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next one is Roberta Brown Stevenson.
Hey, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, under these circumstances, it's not so much of a pleasure. This isn't my first time attending one of you all's meetings. I want to bring your attention to all of the letters and correspondence that I have in my hand. They have several things in common. One thing in particular that they have in common actually leads me to the reason I'm here today. I have been working since the age of 14. I have worked for small mom and pop businesses to multi-billion-dollar corporations. One thing they all have in common is that we have to follow processes and procedures. And unfortunately, if those processes and procedures are not followed, or if mistakes are consistently and continuously made, whether I have been an individual contributor or held a role of leadership, I'm held accountable for my actions, up to, including termination, and depending on the situation, even fines can be associated with my mistakes. So I stand here before you today because each of these letters indicate I am to speak with the board regarding my concerns, okay? I don't know if anyone in this room has ever lost a child. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. My son's case has been an oops factor, even to his death. Oops, wrong person. Oops, we didn't mean to do that. Oops, that was a mistake. So my questions today are, what should the consequences be for the city of Kansas City, Missouri, and the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department as it relates to the mishandling of my innocent 19-year-old son's homicide case? Are you held to a different standard? You don't have to abide by policies and procedures? And if you continuously make mistakes, are there no consequences? So my questions are, what are the consequences? What do you suggest the consequences be? Because I have contacted every entity, every complaint process, and this is what I have. My son died in 2020, and during the course of this time, I have submitted multiple complaints. I have been shoved under the rug. We'll get back to you. We'll call you back. No one. Crickets. Even from your office, Mayor Lucas. So I'm here today to find out what the consequences will be for the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Maybe I don't know the right people. Maybe I don't know the chief, the deputy, the sheriff. I don't know. But it's not who you know, I guess. It's not what you know, it's who you know. But one thing I heard today was that God is the source of justice and truth. You said 3 words: communication, collaboration, and partnership. Everyone's presentation is beautifully wrapped up in a pretty bow. This here is raw and uncut. The system has failed me. The city of Kansas City has failed me. I am a tax-paying person, law-abiding citizen, followed all the processes and procedures that I could, but yet you all are not held to any. So I would like to know the answer to those questions, please, if someone could.
Ma'am, thank you for speaking today and bringing the real. Someone will, on the staff, will talk to you and find out and get back with you. Someone here.
I heard that
Yes.
the last time. I
Well,
was here.
no, you're right here. The chief has stated. Sergeant Henry will get with you after this meeting to find out. Condolences on your son.
Oh, and by the way, although I appreciate the heartfelt condolences and sorry for your losses and apologies, respectfully, it's not sufficient. No longer sufficient.
Sergeant Henry will talk with you, ma'am, after this. Thank you, Sergeant. Mr. Kenner, any other?
That's it.
I believe we need approval of the open session minutes for June 23rd. We need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion passed. We also need approval of the June 24th, 2026 Audit Committee meeting minutes.
I'll move for approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed. Okay, thank you. Mr. Kenner?
Yes. I've got 2 sets of resolutions for your approval, 2603 and 2604. These are revisions of some earlier ones done in 2000. They're just to bring things up to current standard operating procedure. They deal with the chief's authority to sign documents and the settlement of lawsuits and personnel actions. And so I submit 2603 and 2604 for your approval.
I move approval as to 2604, pardon me, 2603.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Do we have a motion for Board of Resolution 2604?
Move to approve.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a quick question, and it might
Yes.
just be my own reading concerns. I read, Mr. Kenner, Section 1 to note that the department can settle a claim, the chief can, $250,000 or below. And I guess that would be per incident. Section 2 suggests that items in excess of $250,000 require the board president or the acting president. The question I would have is, how far in excess? Is that to suggest that all incidents above the $250,000 threshold can be approved by act merely of the board president and the chief? Or is there some other limitation that I'm missing? Section 2 refers back to Section 1, which is where the confusion, I think, comes.
Let's see, make sure I'm understanding your question. But I believe what we're talking about here is if it's within the chief's approval authority, which is $250,000 and below, then any documents get assigned appropriately. But if it has to come, it's the regular authority, if it's above $250,000, it has to come to the board for approval. That's been the way we've been operating for a long time.
Heard, and maybe I'm, misreading. I mean, I would note some of it's I guess, lawyers doing stuff now, but, so our first clause of Section 2 would suggest any settlement is outlined in paragraph 1. All right. So paragraph 1 outlines for us litigation or claim made against the board, the department, et cetera. But then it notes this in excess of the $250,000 threshold, which may just take it out of a Section 1 item anyway, but nonetheless, assuming that, it just seems to me that Section 2 is almost an unlimited grant, at least as to monetary amount for settlement, so long as it's gotten the approval of the president of the Board of Police Commissioners.
Okay, I think what we're talking about here is if, under the statute, 84.350, if the board is not available, then the president of the board has certain authorities to take action. I don't have the statute in front of me, but as I recall, that's what the statute provides.
Mr. Kenner, I believe you're correct on that point. Also, this is an existing resolution that generally I'm pulling it up now, but the only change that we're making is updating the spending authority amounts. So 84.350 is the section of Chapter 84 that allows the board president to act in the unavailability of the board.
I have heard, this is one of those situations, the city attorney always tells me, right, be careful opening the patient. So maybe we've always had it this way, but if I'm reading something that suggests $250,000 or above, which is everything, and it can be approved without board action, which just a clear reading suggests it can, that is a concern to me. I will note the board is almost always absent because we rarely meet. We have one meeting a month. So perhaps I'll ask counsel, but this would give the opportunity for the board president to approve a settlement in this category, which I guess is a claim by a department member of some amount above $250,000, almost without limit, correct?
There are other board resolutions that deal with the power of the board president to act in the absence of the board. 96.11, for example, sets forth those powers. So to the extent that I think you may not be incorrect that it would be a potentially broad grant of authority, but that is narrowed down by the board's other resolutions on this point.
Do we end up with conflicting resolutions then, which is another kind of concern that I would have? If I may never have the blessing of being board president, although I have a long life ahead, we'll see. But I would, if I were president, I would want some level of clarity. Can I sign this settlement that comes to me, or can I not? And it seems as if Section 2 suggests I can.
Well, it's part of it, when you talk about whether the board's available or not, we frequently make the board available by special meetings, specifically to approve these kinds of settlements. I think it's really, while it may say this, I don't think, since I've been involved, we've never done this. it's always been the board would have a special meeting, whether it's by telephone, whether it's in person. And so, as a practical matter, this won't happen.
And to my knowledge, Mayor Lucas, I've never seen, I mean, if, we've usually called a special board meeting. I know that myself as board president would not be acting unilaterally. While we may not have a meeting scheduled for, say, the next month, we would call a special board meeting if we had a situation in which the board needed to act upon a settlement greater than $250,000. So I've not seen that in my 2 years that has not happened. I've never seen a board president just act unilaterally.
No, and so I've been working on these since 2010, and all the settlements that get done are always subject to board approval.
Would that mean that if the rest of the board were to disagree, there'd be some subsequent action, or per this resolution, there wouldn't be? I understand the practice is great. I'm just an attorney, so I worry about what we're lawfully allowing to occur if there's a board president who perhaps doesn't operate in the same path that our current or recent chairs have.
What I would suggest, Mr. Mayor, is that we can table this particular motion, have further discussion, make certain that we don't have one resolution that's conflicting with another resolution. I would suggest that Mr. Weinert can kind of look at the resolutions to ensure they're consistent, and then we can address this further at another meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Would that be agreeable?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have a motion on the floor.
Table the motion.
Do we need a vote to table?
No.
Okay, very good. Motion's tabled. With that, thank you very much, Mr. Kenner.
Then the last thing, I wanted to also thank the department. I had the privilege of attending a roll call last week with Major Marcus Smith. He did a phenomenal job. The room was full. I mean, there was probably 1,000 officers, it seemed like, in that room from all over the place. There was a lot of people from the Park Service of the state of Missouri, from Tulsa, you name it. There were departments from all over. Everybody was attentive. They were all just doing a phenomenal job out there at FanFest. And so it was just a remarkable display of cooperation and organization, and it was a great job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenner. So with that, comments? Mayor Lucas?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to start off, I've been distant a bit lately. The Finance Committee of City Council meets at this very time, as Deputy Chief McCollum knows, and so occasionally we have some big spending issues. It doesn't mean I love this board any less. I want to, first of all, start by welcoming Commissioner Six to our board. I know you've been with us for a moment now, but I look forward to working with you, and thank you for taking on this incredibly high-paying position. I also want to, again, commend the many of you who did this important work over recent weeks relating both to the World Cup and, as Deputy Chief Niemeyer and I both discussed, the regular work of our city. We solved a lot of important issues over this time. We're solving cases, and I think this department should be recognized for that. My final point will be to also on the collaboration point. I want to thank Assistant City Manager Klein. Although I came at her with questions, I do that for everybody. I think one of our positive parts of collaboration is the enhanced collaboration we have from her position at the city. We have someone who's making sure that we center discussions around detention, prevention, enforcement, collaboration with this department well in advance. And so it's not disjointed ordinances or 8 different actors. It's one person in source. Ms. Klein, I thank you for that. And I mentioned 5 a.m. bars before on purpose. In very short order, you took in applications, contacted this department, prosecutor's office, and others. And I think when we looked at that program, that could have gone a lot of different ways. The security plans that you required and others were an important part of us delivering a safe World Cup far beyond the venues at issue. So I thank you, the city manager, and everybody who works with this department each day. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Commissioner Whitaker?
Yeah, I'll share my admiration for Major Martinez, but for the entire team in the years of planning and then the incredible execution of those plans to deliver a world-class event. And at the same time, while all that was going on, the department continued to run and operate in all facets like it always has. And so I don't want to lose sight of the hard work that went on in addition to all of the World Cup events that went exceptionally well. So for that, I'm very grateful. That's all I have this month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Six?
I want to echo all the praise that's been given today, and I appreciate the long hours, the hard work, the professionalism. I know how amazing this department is, so I'm just happy that the world got to see it.
Commissioner Boswell?
Thank you, Madam President. Maybe talk about something other than World Cup. We obviously all know how important it is with the well-deserved retirements that the chief and the command staff talked about to replenish and fill academy classes. I got a call about 2 weeks ago from my son, who's a first lieutenant in the Army, and he and one of his soldiers were contemplating this sergeant's future career, and he was thinking about law enforcement. So my son quickly said, well, then you've got to talk to KCPD. And my son said, well, he's kind of a science geek. So I immediately reached out to Deputy Chief Ortiz, and he connected the sergeant, his wife, and my son with Director Weiner, and they had a wonderful tour of the crime laboratory and wowed this young sergeant. And in addition, I think it was Officer McKenzie, you sent one of your recruiters, and I think that assuming he makes it through the rigorous tests, that you may have a new academy classmate. So, but thank you and your team for their great work, Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner Boswell. I won't repeat, I'll just say it's a good meeting, and thank you all for those who are listening, those who are not here, the entire team, because if they had a teammate, someone who was doing something else, then guess what? They were probably doing their work. So it's truly a team effort, so thank you all for everything you've done. With that, we need a motion to go to close.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Lucas, aye.
Whitaker, aye. Oswald, aye.
Dromius, aye.
6-I.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.